Good afternoon, Jason Shepard here with the AnchorRoom. Today we're going to talk about the tools needed for this installation. This is a general tint installation video, and in front of you you're going to find a microfiber towel, a felt tip squeegee, application fluid, which is 1 milliliter of baby shampoo to 32 ounces of water, and just that also by itself, water in the spray bottle on the right hand side. The reason we are going to use application fluid and water: application fluid is soapy water, so we can place the item on the vehicle, position it to where we want it. Then we will use the water by itself to wash out any soap residue to get the item to stick. One item not shown in this installation is the actual heat gun itself, which may be required for tapering edges. Alright, here we go. We're going to install this fog light, in this case on the driver's side of this 2017 Ford Explorer. This does take a little massaging into place, and let me explain to you what I mean. We have a few areas here that are going to pose some problems. This curvature right here is extreme because it's three-dimensional and it goes into the corner. We have a little bit right here, and for these two reasons we're probably going to absolutely need a heat gun. I also want to mention that this lens obviously is a lot larger than the fascia around it, and we're going to, as you can tell, I can peel this away already. We're going to use our squeegee and our fingers to pull this up, because some of this material can actually go behind here to make it look absolutely perfect the way it was intended to. So anyway, we have the material. We've made sure that the lens is completely clean, free of any bugs or any tar. That's an absolute must prior to. You can hear the heat gun in the background. That's the intent that we're going to use it. I want to peel the piece away from the backing paper. I'm going to spray the lens liberally with the application fluid, as well as the sticky side. And the application fluid primarily makes sure that we can fit this into the right place, I should say. And as I mentioned, you're going to be able to pull this up and slide the lens underneath. You want to make sure you have enough material for when this falls flat into the corner that it covers the entire lens. And keep an eye on this bottom piece also. We've put a couple of pieces on where the complete installation went absolutely perfect, and then at one point we noticed here towards the bottom that we had a little bit of the lens showing, so when the light was on it wasn't a perfect installation. Alright, as you can tell, I have the lens or the piece completely in place where I want it. It's tucked under neatly. I have all of the lens covered, and at this point you'll notice that where it has to go over the curvature, it's still hanging out. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take just plain water, and while holding this in place, I'm going to spray water in here. Now what this does, it's going to wash away a lot of the soap residue, which originally helped us position the lens. It'll now help us keep it in place by washing it away. This is a top-down installation, meaning that we're going to work our way from the top down, and I'll show you what I mean. We have our felt tip squeegee here, and I am from the center out going to remove most of the material, or excuse me, the application fluid and or water. As you can tell, that top piece pretty much falls into place. From this point moving forward, it's actually fairly simple, because all we have to really worry about is that curvature on the lens. So I'm going to move the majority of the water and application fluid towards that side. I'm going to kind of do the same thing at the bottom, making sure that I have none of the lens behind it visible. I think we're still in good shape. And now here comes the tough part. This piece is the most difficult piece right here. It may require a little stretching to get it to fall into that curve, so what I'm actually doing is I'm going to grab the heat gun. I'm going to heat up the material, and I'm actually going to pull it towards the back. Heating it up is what's going to give me that malleability. And I'm going to push it all the way into the corner, which now fits perfect. Now notice I went through the center, and the idea is when you have overlapping pieces that you always want to put your finger in the center multiple times. So the center got me there. I'm going to go to center here, and at this point I can use either a squeegee or a microfiber towel to move that excess water out the way. Now you might experience some folds. If you can see them, there's a couple of small ones here. It's not a big deal. Just heat it up and keep working at it. So you notice I still have a lot of water on the lens. That's really going to help me get that stuff down exactly where I want without burning the material. But as you can tell, that felt absolutely perfect. So coming around the corner now, we're going to apply a little heat, flatten it down, a little heat, flatten it down, and just pretty much keep working this material until you get it exactly the way you want it. Sometimes, in this case, and I hope you can see this, but we have a little ridge right here which protrudes or hangs over the material. But again, remember, this is just a cover, so the nice thing is you can use your squeegee and then literally, as you can tell, I am just pushing the material right underneath of it. Make sure you get all of the liquid out of it though. Same scenario at the bottom over here. We want to find that center, push it out, make sure that you're not creasing the material. That's be the difficult part. An old trick is to shove a squeegee in here and use it as a wedge so you can move that material in there. So it does help to have either a panel tool or a wedge like this to just make the material fold under. As you can tell, squeegee works perfect, but again, be careful with the folds. And again, this is where that heat gun comes into play. Because the heat gun is going to make you able to contour the tint to the lens, make it shrink or expand. I mean, the vinyl is pretty easy to work with. You just got to know how to make it work in your favor. But as you can tell, it's working out pretty good here. I think we need a little bit more heat. And just be patient, that's the big thing. No sense in rushing it. You can go back and forth and you notice that the little changes eventually get you where you want to be. Don't apply too much heat, you want to scorch the material or the car, obviously. And also, something else you have to remember, the heat gun also evaporates the application fluid and or water. So it kind of serves a double duty here. It not only conforms the material to the lens, but it also evaporates the water that's keeping it from laying down flat. So eventually, like I said, by just being patient, you'll get it exactly where you want. Alright, I'm going to keep going. As you can tell, little folds are just falling flat as soon as that application fluid evaporates. A little bit at a time. And like I mentioned, with a little patience, we arrive at the final product.